And welcome. I want to highlight this issue today in regards to this guy, Dave Ramsey. He's a very popular financial advisor and he's criticized Bitcoin. And I want to tell you why this guy hasn't a clue what he's talking about. And he calls himself a financial advisor. Now, I will show you the last couple of minutes of this video. And in terms of, I'm incensed by this guy's ignorance in regards to Bitcoin and how potentially massive this product is, and he's telling people right from the get-go not to invest in it, when clearly this is the biggest opportunity that many people will ever have in their lives to make a lot of money. And this is the truth, and I will show you why he is ignorant and very foolish in what he says. I'll play the last 2 seconds of it where he just basically trash talks people that are in Bitcoin at the minute and hopes that they're going to lose a lot of money. So let's listen for the last 2 seconds.
And your immature children, you're going to lose a lot. You're going to lose a lot before this is over. I hope you don't, but you're going to. He who hastens to be rich will not go unpunished. There's the old man talking. We'll see how it turns out in 5 years. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
You see, the problem with these guys, calls himself Dave Ramsey and he's a financial advisor, they have a very set mindset and they're not open to new ideas, new opportunities and new technologies. And Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies, if anybody has used them ever in their life, they'll know how fast they are. The cost of fees, keeping them down and low and cheap, and the need that you don't need a bank to make sure that you can be approved for a transaction. All you need is them to be confirmed on the blockchain. But he doesn't know that. He doesn't talk about that. He doesn't talk about the central banks printing trillions of dollars, pumping up a housing market where the average Joe in America or the UK or anywhere Western, any Western country is paying and has a housing to income ratio of 4 or 5 times their income. So they need to take out big mortgages just to pay the house off. You know, this craziness that the central banks have created just to keep this whole system going. He doesn't talk about that. He doesn't talk about the endless fiat money and that fiat money will go to zero, and all fiat money goes to zero in the end and loses its purchasing power. He doesn't talk about that. He doesn't want to talk about that. He just wants to trash talk people that are involved with Bitcoin when he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. This is potentially the S-curve of the new technology going into more mainstream. So what he's talking about is he hasn't really a clue. This is a huge opportunity if you can see it, and I can clearly see it, that this is an opportunity to buy in now, and in a few years, the price will be a lot higher because it's the S-curve, and if you do some research yourself, you'll know what I'm talking about. And he's a very foolish man in the sense that he is very straightforward. His ideas are the only ways to make money, and he is very focused on making sure everyone listens to his own viewpoint. And if anyone argues with him, then nobody listens to. Nobody can go on that show and have an argument or a debate with him. If you look at his podcast, you just listen to some guy go on, ask him a question, and then listen to his viewpoint, and his viewpoint is correct, which in reality it's not. So if you look at his videos, I have to do this video because I'm incensed by this guy giving out knowledge to a lot of people, a lot of subscribers, and I have to tell him, I have to be honest, I have to tell the truth to these people that watch it, and that's why I'm doing this video, because I believe this guy is giving out so much bad advice to so many people that he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. And I have to tell you right now that this guy is a biggest fool for talking like this. Like, he's trash talking Bitcoin, and he hopes people, and he knows people are going to lose money on Bitcoin. I mean, look, what is this guy talking about? Like, fiat money loses value. It always goes to zero. I mean, if you look at a chart of fiat money since 1900s to US dollar, it has lost purchasing power. And you're investing in a decentralized currency that there's a demand for, that's not going to get printed away like central banks are doing with the US dollar. This guy doesn't talk about this because he knows that if he tells people the truth, then they will invest in Bitcoin and they'll know. But what will happen is that, very simple, the network effect. When people realize that they're getting more purchasing power from cryptocurrencies, they will tell their families and they will invest in more, and it will go and grow bigger and grow bigger and grow bigger, and the ball will move down the hill, and Bitcoin will get higher and higher and higher because people are realizing they're getting more purchasing power if they buy and invest in cryptocurrencies. than they have in fiat money. So he in itself doesn't know what he's talking about. And as that ball goes further down the hill, you will get more and more people onto the train because they're realizing they're getting more purchasing power with cryptocurrencies, and it's a wealth transfer. This is a huge wealth transfer that he does not understand because maybe of his age, because he's maybe above 50 and he doesn't realize what's going on. But this is a huge wealth transfer that's taking place in the next few years, and you need to get on this train because this train will leave you behind and everyone else will become rich, and you will look back in a couple of years and you will say, I missed that train because I listened to people like this guy Dave Ramsey when he was wrong. He didn't have a clue what he was talking about, and you should have listened to other people that were more educated in the space, that know what they're talking about. Listen to people that are educated in the space, and this guy is not educated in the space, and that's exactly why I had to do this video. He's uneducated and he's giving out bad advice, and it gets me very angry, and I'm getting very angry because he's not telling the truth and he doesn't have a clue what he's talking about. And when people realise that this guy is talking rubbish in a couple of years, and they're going to say they missed the biggest opportunity in their life to become well off and to preserve their wealth, then that's very disappointing. That this guy calls himself a financial advisor, but in reality he's not financially advising anybody but his own ego in what he does in that show. So my viewpoint is very clear to this. Look, do your research, but I have to highlight that this guy is giving out, in my opinion, very bad advice, and I have to highlight his bad advice because it's not something that I would support, and he gets a lot of followers and views and a lot of love. But I'll tell you this, in 5 years Bitcoin is going to be a lot higher and it's going to have a lot more purchasing power than $1. If you have $1, one Bitcoin, I'll tell you right now, one Bitcoin will be a lot more purchasing power than $1. And I'll tell you this now, that he has to understand it, and if you're giving out advice, educate yourself and don't go on and call yourself a financial advisor and give out advice hoping people lose money because they're in Bitcoin when you clearly don't understand the whole principle of the money system. Central banks printing money, the fractional reserve system, where they can go into a bank and you can just press the button and there's $10,000 magically appears, and think that that has no impact on anybody. You know, that has a huge impact on the whole system if you're just creating money out of thin air and putting it in the system to pump up housing prices and stuff like that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I had to do it to explain to you that this guy was talking really rubbish in my view, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Like it, subscribe, and I will see you again in the next video. And if you have any questions about Bitcoin, let me know and I will see you again. Thanks for watching.